Well, you found me again, the local rock star. I started with a soft launch, sort of an opportunity to figure this stuff out. I now know how the equipment works, lol. I wanted to make sure that I could provide an entertainment value. I did receive a few emails when to expect more episodes. Well, to be honest, I'm trying to provide a new rock star as often as once per week, but it has proven to be a little bit tough. To get a commitment, moving forward, it's likely that I'm going to have to do some of these episodes over the phone, just because phone chats are quick and easy. They're painless. People don't get too upset about it. There's numerous reasons. Sometimes it's for scheduling. Sometimes it's just that people don't want me to know where they live. And I get that. So the first episode back is a good one. I recorded it in my car, and I'm hoping that the sound quality is acceptable. Let's have a talk with Chris. Well, you fucked up. You got back to my podcast. You're here at the local rock star, and I have here with me Chris Smith, who's a vocalist, guitar player, drummer, bass player, rhythm guitar player, songwriter. What else? Let's see now. Seamstress in his spare time.
Yeah.
Sometimes makes parachutes for the Navy.
Sometimes.
Yeah. And all aspects of the music business and every other business as well. So we're going to hear what he's got to say.
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Chris. I can also play like 2 songs on harmonica. Just saying.
Oh. Well, I mean, if that's going to be your flex.
Well, yeah. I remember, I made a harmonica holder out of a coat hanger once and showed my dad, hey, look at me, I can play Mary Jane's Last Dance. And he was like, well, I think we'll get you a harmonica brace. I'm like, oh, okay. I think this duct tape thing I'm doing right now with this coat hanger's working. But
Yep, fair enough.
Yeah. It's always good when you have a parent. Both my parents actually were very nurturing that way. So,
yeah.
Yeah. So what would you like to know, Bill?
Well, just a brief rundown of where you started out, sort of with, whether it's instruments or vocals or whatever. The other thing I'm really interested in is just the bizarre, weird shit that happened along the way. The things that you can't plan for, and whether it's a happy accident or a holy hell. There's always those stories, and every musician I've ever talked to has those stories, and they're always entertaining and they're always fun. In hindsight, at the time, it might have been the most terrifying part of your experience. Whether it's going to fire up and the amp you tested 9 times doesn't work.
Yep, had that.
Or you track it down and it was just a cable and it took you 30 seconds to fix, or you had to send somebody to the store to pick up another amp. I mean, there's so many of those, and that's kind of where I want my listeners to kind of get the inside skinny on all that stuff as it happened. So yeah, and then of course I'd like to hear about what you're doing now as far as what you got going on. I understand your band. Now, are you guys doing a lot of playing?
Right now we're not, just because the leader of the band and the namesake of the band, Dustin Sky Smith, he just recently moved, and he is teaching full time at his school in Mitchell, his studio.
Okay.
So he does that. He also does a lot of other gig play, like just solo things by himself. But we're gearing up, I think, for the summer to get a few gigs. I know that we are booked in May in Godrich.
Yep.
So there's a few things coming up. A lot of things we do behind the scenes, like video production and songs and writing, getting them recorded and all that kind of stuff. So just a lot of behind the scenes stuff that goes on, as there's always people only see kind of the tip of the iceberg of what's on the surface is when you're gigging and playing, but there's a whole massive thing underneath there that has to be done as well.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we're at, and just kind of racking up the views on YouTube, hopefully, and all that. So yeah.
So you guys got some music on YouTube now.
Yep.
3 or 4 songs?
We have 3 songs right now.
Yeah.
I know the 4th song is being talked about, tossed around, and we're throwing out ideas for it and everything. So, yeah, just stay tuned for that. The 3 ones that we have so far, they've done pretty good. Yeah. Sorry, you can edit this, right?
I can. I won't, but I can.
Mm.
The reason being is I want it to sound as raw as on. I don't want it to sound edited. I don't want it to sound like it was scripted.
Yeah, it's like we're just 2 guys.
I am going to cut this piece out.
Yeah.
But I'm not cutting a lot out, simply because I'm absolutely 100% okay with people organizing their thoughts.
Fair enough.
This, to me, this is only going to work if it's raw. If it's just, I don't give a shit if you swear. I don't give a shit if you want to do a quick line of Coke in the middle. I don't care. But please don't, because it gets in my car and then I can't get it out.
Plus, I'm a working. I have a full-time job and I'm a semi-professional musician. And saying semi-professional musician basically is a nice way of saying I'm broke. So,
yeah, exactly.
Semi-pro being the weekend warrior, if you would, or the odd gig through the weekend, like a coffee house or a bar.
That's an air ambulance.
Yeah, it is.
Side note, I used to paint those.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We had 3 or 4 from Toronto that when they were using the old Hueys, the Bell 212s, or not 212, yeah, 212. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But they were called Bandage 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Really?
Yeah. And that was the name that was underneath the pilot's door. It just, in cursive, it said Bandage, and then there was 1, 2, 3, or 4. We did all 4 of them, and all those helicopters are retired now. But I changed it because it was cursive, and they were all now known as Bondage 1, 2, 3, and 4. And nobody noticed.
That's awesome. That's hilarious. My wife.
I had to do something.
Yeah, that's awesome. Bondage. Every time one goes by, my wife gets a nervous look because she's actually an ICU nurse.
Yeah.
So she's never done the helicopter, but she's done, like, she would go for Stratford General to London or Godrich or Kitchener, with patients and everything. But yeah, you just see the look in her eye when she looks up. She's like, oh, there goes the hell. Like, she's just running through her mind, the possibilities of who would be in there and why. Not like she'd know anybody, but it must be really serious that they're breaking out that, right? So,
yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah. Anyway, yeah. So with Dustin Sky Smith,
we get sidetracked.
Oh no, that's fine. I love that. Our first single that we put out with me is called "Back from the Edge," and we recorded that actually at the St. Mary's Flatlands.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful spot.
See the video; it's quite nice.
Thank you. The video can be seen on YouTube for you listeners. Just Back from the Edge, Dustin Sky Smith Band. And that was really cool because it's this flat sort of river area in the middle of St. Mary's. And I remember, getting down to this spot was kind of a rigmarole to get all your equipment down and started filming. And I just remember, looking at Dustin like, did you get a permit to do this? And, no.
It's easier to get forgiveness.
That's what he said. He goes, it's easier to ask forgiveness and permission. And if they tell us to stop, we'll stop. We'll be nice. But, and we had no problems. There was none of that. In fact, it was pretty cool because, St. Mary's has their own sort of, town Facebook page. I forget what it's called, like St. Mary's Life. But, we were on there within an hour, like people that's going by and what's going on here? Which actually really worked out to the mystique of, what's this band and what they're doing,
Absolutely. If you can get people asking questions, you're going to win. Yep.
When the video was finally done and ready to go, that was one of the first places we posted it, was there to say, hey, we were that mystery band, and that was kind of fun to see. And I had a couple friends like, oh, I didn't realize it was you down there that live in St. Mary's. Like, oh, okay. So it got a really good reception. We got it on a listable FM station, too, for a week. They were playing it, so so it's just exciting, and and doing all that. So we did that song, and yeah, I really liked it. It's a bit political of what was going on in the state of Canada at the time. Nothing too crazy, and it was definitely not left-based. It definitely wasn't right-based.
Yep.
It was just like, oh no, you know, the pressures that we face every day with, you know, the cost of things and the environment of where the world is right now.
Yep.
So it was kind of a cool song that way to see it resonate with other people. And it's a fun song to play and everything. So yeah, check it out, listener.
Yep.
So that was the first one, and I really liked it. And then the second one we did, that one was just Dustin and I, and we did it in the beaches of Godridge, at a beach in Godridge, which was really fun because I didn't know this about drones. Like, all our videos have really awesome drone footage done by Dustin and the photographers and stuff. But I was introduced, like, we wanted to do it by the salt mines as much as we could, to pay homage to all the hardworking people there.
Yeah.
But they have those locks on there. I didn't know that about drones. Like, we put it up and it'd be like, nope, you can't fly here.
Yep.
So we found a nice secluded beach, and then we just recorded there.
Yep.
And I'll be honest with you, I can't remember the name of that song.
Somewhere in Ontario.
Somewhere in Ontario. Thank you very much, Bill.
I told you I checked into it.
Yep. and that's it was another kind of political song, the same kind of vein as the first one, just, hey, different. It wasn't as poppy and bouncy. It's more cut to the heart of it.
Yeah.
And yeah, just, I didn't write the song. I just had a hand in this and that. Not too much of a hand in this and that one, actually. Just the harmonies recorded and stuff. But yeah, I'm very, very proud of it. And the video is absolutely beautiful. The photographer did a beautiful job, as did Dustin.
Yep.
Couldn't be happier with it. Check that out too.
Yep.
And then the third video we've done, it's called Sleepwalking. And that one we actually did on the top of a building in Mitchell, an apartment building, which my friend Dustin owns. Right now that's where his studio is as well, the bottom part. And that's just kind of your straight up love song, of two people just kind of, it's called Sleepwalking because they're just kind of going through the motions of life, knowing that there's hardships and, bills got to be paid, but, kind of the cliche, but love conquers all, and as long as we have each other, we can get through it. I love that. It's a beautiful song. We had a guest vocalist that did the duet with Dustin. Her name's Haley McNeil, and she is very, very talented. I urge you to go check her out. I just saw last weekend she played the legendary Horseshoe Tavern, which is I've never played that, and that's
what the fuck you been doing?
Yeah,
have you been trying?
I don't think I am, because she's only 22 and she's already got the Horseshoe Tavern on her resume, and that's a massive feather in your cap there to have that, because they always say, you only play the Horseshoe like a handful of times, and you either make it or you don't.
Yeah, that girl's an old soul when it comes to her voice.
Oh yeah,
she sounds way, way, way more mature than that.
And I thought that when I met her, because when I met her, just in between takes of the song, she just carries herself very, very nice, like just the nicest, smiliest person.
Yeah.
But I thought, like, well, to look at her, you're like, you're obviously a young, in your 20s, but she carries herself like, you're right, like she's 35, just the way her confidence and everything is, eh?
See, like for me, it's all about that voice.
Yeah.
And I've never obviously met her. I've never seen her do anything other than that video that she's in with you guys. And I mean, she's just got a dynamite voice.
Oh yeah, just incredible. Like, I was involved in that song just minutes ago. At the start of it, Dustin said, well, can you lay a harmony vocal track? And I listened to it, and he already did a vocal track to himself. And I said, well, honestly, I don't really see what else I could bring to this other than re-record the harmony you wrote, just because I just don't think there's really anything else that I could contribute myself. I'm more of the gravelly, like, hey, not Fat Albert there, but Fat Chris, I guess, but not Fat Albert. Like, just my sound is like, yeah. I hope I probably made the thing blink there.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden out of nowhere, he's like, hey, I thought about it, and I'm going to get this girl and oh man, did she bring it.
Yeah.
So much so that obviously if you listen to the song, she gets the first verse all to herself, and rightfully so. She just nails it. And just a pleasure to work with, and I just wish her really well. And I bet you'll be hearing about her in no time soon, because she's very, very talented.
Well, like any other artist in Canada, if she doesn't starve to death, she's going to do really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
But the trick is to actually get past the starving to death part.
It is, and I think that's where a lot of people just go, I don't know if I could do this. Like, you know, the landscape has changed for a lot of that. Back when I was in my early 20s, that would have been like the 2000s.
Yeah.
You know, it was still, that's what you did. You made an album, which I did with another band. We can get into that story. And you either buy or rent a shitty van, and you go across Canada, and you come through the States, and you come home basically, if you broke even and still have your day job, they let you leave for a couple weeks, you're doing okay.
Yeah.
Now it's different. Now, you know, you can go to the Justin Bieber route, you could say, you know, just film a lot of videos. You just get lucky and you get found, and it takes off. Like, it's different these days, and I'm not saying that it's better. I'm not saying it's worse at all.
Yeah.
Because I think it's amazing with things like YouTube that everyone now has a voice, and you don't have to wait for some, you know, cutthroat record executive go, oh, I don't know if this could sell. He doesn't really have the look or whatever
exactly.
ignorant thing, right? Like, you can post your own video on there, and if people like it, it speaks for itself. Best example of that would be Oliver Anthony.
Okay, I don't know who that is.
He had that big song, what was it, last year? Rich Man North of Richmond.
Oh, yeah.
And that was just him
Yeah.
and a buddy filming, like,
All done on a fucking iPhone.
yeah, all done on an iPhone, just done in, like, his bush.
Yeah.
And, you know, I remember I read an interview with him saying, you know, my buddy and I were like, this is pretty good. Like, it hopefully we can get 100,000 hits.
Yeah.
And within 2 days, it was in the millions, and it just, you know, he was propelled into the stratosphere so fast and amazing.
Well,
and he's very humbled.
Well, he did it. Now, the thing is, he had, lightning strike. He had 1, the talent, 2, the subject matter, and 3, there's a word, I'll fuck it up, but the drive is not the right word.
He had the ambition?
The ambition to really not just do it, but do it right.
Yep, and he did.
And he did it, and he knocked it out of the fucking park. Now, what you were saying before, like, you can post your own videos, you can do all these things. You're not dealing with a record executive that can poo-poo your whole fucking plan just by going, yeah, no, he doesn't have the right look. However, by doing that, you can post your own stuff, but now the consumer has to slog through 10,000 rather than 1,000.
Very true. Yeah, exactly.
So
Like,
there's pluses and minuses. There's good and bad, of course. But somebody, like, I firmly believe a lot of us as musicians earlier on could have benefited. And I'm talking like your age group and my age group being a little bit older. We could have benefited earlier on by being able to post some of this stuff. YouTube didn't exist when I got started. The internet wasn't heard of then. So if I'm going to spend somewhere between, in those days, $300 and $500 to make a demo, if I'm going to spend closer to $1,000 to have a full engineered track done, I still have to figure out what the hell I'm going to do with it. Who do I send it to? How many copies do I get made?
exactly.
And I'm going to send it to all the radio stations who are going to look at it and go,
Yeah, with no representation, they'll just be like, oh, here's just another nobody. And no offense to you, I mean.
No.
They're just like, well, I don't know this guy. It's unsolicited. I'm not.
Yeah.
There's no cover head that says this is from, like Universal Records or
Exactly.
like why should I listen to this? And that's just the way it was. Like, I remember when I was 15, I was in a band called Fake Facade. I always thought that name was cool because it was like a facade means, the outward appearance that's fake.
Yeah.
All two negatives make a positive.
Yeah.
And we did that. We we got $500 together and hired a guy out of Stratford who was an amazing sound engineer. He actually worked for the Tragically Hip as a roadie in the 80s.
Nice.
And you know, we cut a CD there, very live off the floor, and very much like, you know, like you listen to it and you might not be able to tell, but we'd be like, oh, we screwed that up. Oh, no one's gonna know that but us. You know, like you're just like, oh. And then, you know, we met some computer people along the way that could burn them with CD burners. That was the new thing.
Yeah.
And then we just bought a bunch of blank CDs and photocopied our own inserts and put them in ourselves, and that's what we did. And then at gigs we'd sell that, or we'd sell it to friends, and you know, some locally owned stores would carry it. But that's what we had to do.
Yeah.
You know, but these days, like, oh yeah, like I think about things like that. I also wonder sometimes, like, how good of a guitar, because when I was 12 years old, I consumed everything that I could get my hands on to listen to and try and learn, and all tab books and music books. But, you know, I was 12 years old then. Now you see 12-year-old kids on YouTube that are, you know, doing Eddie Van Halen, like Eruption, note for note, because they can watch those tutorial videos and learn faster and more proficient and more precise. And I just wonder, like, geez, you know, what would I have been like because I had the hunger then to just learn everything, you know, and then...
Yeah. There's a magazine. I know Mike mentioned it when he did his episode. It was a magazine he used to get, and it would come out once a month. Once every month or once every 2 months. But it had songs with all the tabs.
Guitar World.
Guitar World, that's
Yep.
what it was. And so you're going to get that, you're going to get a copy of that, and you're going to scour that thing and learn it, and whether you like the song or not. But that's what you had.
That's what you had.
An option. I don't even know. Like, I'm 60 now, and I'm playing with my band, and there'll be a song that they want to do, but I can go to YouTube, and I can find that song, and I can find a video of somebody playing that song on a professional level,
Yep.
so I can see what the fuck they're doing in there.
And, you know, like, and I do that still now. Like, you know, typically, like, working musician, like, with bands, you know, like, say the Dustin Skysmith, just for example, you know, we have a handful of our own songs, but we also have to do a lot of covers.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you're playing bar gigs or wedding gigs or dances, you know, like, you got to play the stuff people know.
Yeah, you want to end the night early? Start with one of your own songs.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody else knows.
Yeah, like, what you do is you kind of bill yourself as a cover band when you're doing just the local gigs like that, and you kind of just pepper in your originals here and
Absolutely.
there. But I do that. Like, I'll go to YouTube and be like, oh, I got to learn the bass for this song. Well, okay, you know, and rehearsals, like, in a couple days. Well, okay, I kind of can get an idea of where the key is and the progression of it, and okay, I know they're playing the fifth there and the third there, but then there's that run, and I don't got time to just sit here and break it down, which, you know, for any beginner musician listening to, that's the way you should do it. But if you're compressed for time and you just want a shortcut, oh yeah, YouTube, there's a guy right there teaching you how to do it note for note.
Absolutely.
And you can go from there, and that's the easy route. Now, that's all well and good, but yeah, to tune your ear is the better way to go to listen to the song. But like I said, sometimes you got to learn the fucking guitar lead for You Shook Me All Night Long in 2 days, and it's like
Thursday, the gig's small.
Yeah, like, I'll just pull up a video of another guy doing it and closely watch him and hear his notes from it and practice the crap out of it, you know? Cause,
the one that I always preferred was when you have a song list, and then you discuss a few other songs, because, you know, you're gonna, and then you get to the gig and you're sitting there, and I'm sitting back behind the guys, and we're doing our thing, and then I hear the guitar come up. It's like, dude, we've never played that song anywhere, ever.
Yeah.
We practiced it once.
Sometimes those are like, you know, like, I call them, not maybe in Europe, but, you know, sometimes you're at a gig and someone will just request something.
Yeah.
And maybe the guitar player, you know, will know the opening riff.
Yeah.
But that's maybe all he knows.
Yeah.
And then maybe say if I'm on bass that night, will be like, oh, I used to play this song in another band. Okay, here, watch me for the changes. It's a simple, you know, 1-3-5 chord progression, whatnot, and then there's this one in the middle, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But sometimes, like, those improv, I call them bastardized versions. When you just kind of like, and then you step up to the mic, you're like, I don't even know the fucking lyrics to this song, but let's just try it. Like, I remember one gig not too long ago in Godridge at the big bar there. They were just like, you know, Smells Like Teen Spirit, play it, that one here, Smells Like Teen. And that's an easy song for musicians, maybe not the drum parts, but, you know, like, you can do it, but they all kind of looked at me like, well, you have that 90s voice, like, you sing it. And I just remember, like, load up on guns, kill your friends. I don't know the rest of the words. So I kind of channeled Weird Al Yankovic did a version of that song. So I kind of
out something.
Oh yeah, I just mumbled something out. But really, when you listen to that song, you don't know what the fuck Kurt Cobain's saying either. So I'm just like, no, when the lights out, you know, like, just like, what is it? You just kind of like, oh, it kind of sounds, you know, whatever. And by that point, everyone's drunk and they're having fun, and they just want to hear kind of it. So
yeah, there's that Pearl Jam song that keeps popping up on reels, and I can't remember what the song, which song it is, but there's like an entire verse of nonsensical verbiage that doesn't sound like any actual words. And the video that keeps popping up on reels is this deaf girl goes to the show, and it's her interpreter with the sign.
Oh yeah,
that's trying to, like, what the fuck am I supposed to do?
Yeah, with this, right?
Yeah, I can't remember it's a Pearl Jam song, but I can't remember which one.
Their Jam are such a good band too.
Oh, they're one of the cookie cutters, and when I refer to the cookie cutters, there's Rat, there's Cinderella, there's in certain instances Motley Crue. There's like 7 of them. I can't remember the names just offhand, but I call them the cookie cutters because I can't physically tell them apart.
That's fair enough.
They're all good, and I'm not throwing shade at anybody. They're all really, really good. I just can't tell them apart.
Yeah, like for me, you know, I always think that I was born in the wrong decade personally. Like, I can tell all those bands apart because I was a product of the, I was born early in the 80s, but when I bloomed,
yep.
You could say, like, that was what I had to listen to, you know? I always thought, like, but back then, you know, like, you know, Nirvana and Pearl Jam and Soundgarden and Silverchair and a million other bands, and I should name some Canadian ones like Moist and Sloan, all those, like, you know, that's what but I always listened to classic rock, and I always aspired to be a classic rock guitarist, if you would, like blues bass guitarist, you know, like I was very lucky that way growing up. My dad always had the Guess Who going, the Beatles. David Wilcox was like the man in our house, and still
love
is.
Wilcox.
Yeah, I have a 3-year-old son, and I just love putting on the Bearcat to him. And he has a hat, a winter hat that has a bear on it, and I always say, like, we're the Bear Hat. Oh, it's the name of the song. You know, just having fun with him. But yeah, I know. So I could see, like, you know, your generation would say, well, they all kind of sound the same. I was like that for a while with big hair 80s bands, like you said, you know, Warrant, Cinderella. Like, well, how can you tell these apart, right? Yeah. But the more you get into it, you can hear how the different sounds. So I get the cookie cutter thing for sure. Just my generation was one over the hair metal, which was what I thought of cookie cutter. But yeah, still awesome stuff though.
Yep.
You know, it's funny having a young son, because with the videos that I was just talking about that I was in, you know, I put it on the TV, like YouTube, from the TV, and it's really cute. You know, my little son's like, "There's Dada! Oh, there's Dada again! There's Dada again!" And I just want to put that out to the listener. If you're wondering if you just put on this video and you're wondering which guy am I'm kind of the portly older fella. If you saw the rest of the members in the band, I'm the least attractive one.
Oh, you're not the hot blonde.
No, I'm not I can see how you'd think that, you know. But,
just by voice alone.
Yeah, you'd be like, wait, you're not the blonde girl?
Now the other girl that plays rhythm guitar for you guys,
Alicia.
Super talented.
Oh, she is a guitar teacher as well at Dustin School.
That makes perfect sense.
Alicia Harney. Yeah, she's very, very talented. Oh, she is a singer too. And she's one of those people that, you know, I always find with musicians, it's like meeting friends. Like, you know, with you, Bill, I know that you and I, the first time we really ever talked, that we just had that chemistry.
Yeah.
Because we have that, a love of music.
It's all about beer.
Yeah, and it's all about beer too, and all the cocaine that's all over your car.
Yeah, sorry about that.
But
I sneezed.
Yeah, you sneezed. It's blowing out of the air vents here. But with her, we just have very good. Even when we're just screwing around, having a couple drinks or something, like we just kind of lock into a cool harmony, and I find that with Dustin especially too, that like we just have that chemistry that we harmonize well, and then you have other musicians that it just makes sense. It's like an equation or something. Just on paper it makes sense, but there's just nothing there. Or you sit down to try and write a song with a musician that's, and I've had that's just even a bigger caliber than me. Not saying that I'm a high caliber, but I kind of know what I'm doing, and it's just not there. It's just something that just doesn't click. And then you have I've had other people that only campfire guitar players that maybe only know like 6 chords, but they got a giant songbook, and I could just play and sing with them all night, and it just works.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's Alicia. Alicia Harney's her name. She's very, very good singer.
She, I didn't really get my ear close enough to really hear her vocals separately.
Right.
But what she was doing with the guitar, I could absolutely hear. I got a set of studio monitors, finally.
Nice. The little ones?
Yeah, they're...
that are in like everybody's studio?
What the hell are they... M Audio BX5s?
Yeah, I think honestly, if you show me a picture, I'd be like, that's exactly them. Yeah. But I don't know the name of them. Yeah, but every studio I've been in, they're there.
Yeah. And that's, like, I finally, like, I've been working with headphones, and I've been working with a few different sets of headphones.
Right.
And I don't mean to sidetrack you here, but
no.
What's happening to me is I had a set on loan. I borrowed these things. They're like $600. And I said, like, I want to borrow these, and I want to find out what they do. And oh my God, the sound quality. But I wear hearing aids. So I have to really, 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 really be careful. Mm-hmm. If I start getting feedback, I have to drop my hearing aid level. If I drop my hearing aid level, then I lose all the highs.
Yep.
Okay, so I found ways around that. I've been engineering my own stuff long enough now that I've found ways around that. But the reality of it is that these super expensive headphones cannot do vocals to save their lives. And I won't say the brand name, because there's at least a half a chance that I screwed that up. I didn't set them up properly.
Yeah.
You have to set them up online.
Really?
Yeah. They come with their own DAC, and they come with you go to their website, and you set your shit up, and then it comes through the DAC the way that it should, and does what it's supposed to do. And they are spectacular sound quality.
Oh, that's great.
But when you try to isolate vocals, it really sounds like somebody screaming through a bag of sawdust. It's horrible.
Oh no.
It's horrible. And there again, I have to assume that's on me, so I'm not going to slag the company. But I sent the headphones back. Now I use a set of AGKs, and I use a set of Soundcore, and that gives me the range that I need. But I was fiddle farting and fucking around with these headphones for so long, because you have to get them just right, or you start getting feedback, and then you're screwed right out of the gate. So I broke down. It's like, screw it, I need a set of studio monitors, and I set them up in a spot where they can just stay set up. Because there's a lot of people live in my house, and my house is just little. So anyway, beyond all that, I've sidetracked everything again. But but the reality of it is that when I was checking out your video, and with the young lady on rhythm guitar,
yep,
and I could absolutely hear through my studio monitors exactly what she was doing. And I'm just starting to get my ear trained as I'm reluctant to say as an engineer, because I am not. Nobody's even writing that on an arrest report. But I'm muddling my way through and learning a little bit as I go. And so, yeah, I could isolate in my mind and hear that rhythm guitar. Anyway, I'll probably cut this part of it out, because it's a long, rambling just mess that shouldn't be here. But yeah, I thought she was just a a real talent. But
Oh, she is, and she's a nice person. And she's another one that just feels like an old soul when you talk to her, because she's 24, 25?
she seemed very young.
Yeah, she is. Like, I always feel weird talking to them because it's like, hey, I'm in my early 40s, and you're young, and
See, you can be the dirty old man. What you can't be is a creepy old bastard. Now, where the fuck is that line? Because the last thing you want to do is come across as creepy. And I used to do repairs for coffee makers at Tim Hortons. And you go into Tim Hortons, and there is, like, I don't know if there's 5 or 6 or 7 or 10 girls working at any given time, and they're all late teens, very early 20s. And they all have their name tag right here. And I can't look there. Because I don't mind being the dirty old man, but I am not going to be that creepy bastard. So I never learned any of their names.
Fair enough.
Not a one. I would come up with nicknames for them, and that's what I would refer to them as. And that was it. And if they told me their name, I would learn their name. That's where it ends. Because I'm not looking. I can't be that creepy old guy.
Yeah. Well, I find that too with like Alicia. Like, yeah, like I can admit she's a very pretty girl, but like I tend to try and just disassociate that, especially when you're playing with them, and because it's about the music, right? Like I get what you're saying.
There has to be interaction.
Yeah, like there is
can't
interaction, but I don't, like I'm in a, I would never, same as you. I don't want to be the creepy old man. I don't want to be the dirty old. I just kind of keep it like we're here for music, and I don't ever want it, her or any other, like Haley or any other young girl that I, like, because that's not, it's just about the music, and let's see what your talent is, and go from there and explore that and see if you have chemistry musically, and I just kind of try and leave all that out. Yeah. Now I have to say though, Dustin Skysmith, my friend, he's a good-looking hunk of a man. Let me tell you. And I'm a straight man, but I can appreciate the good-looking vibe of him, and I try not to be a dirty old man.
It's his own fault for being fucking pretty.
Yeah, that's right. He's very man pretty, and it's hard. Sometimes I just look at him like, I think he just turned into an angel. Oh man, look at him.
Just so dreamy.
Just so dreamy. Now, what you were talking about before is something that I think needs to be said about me as a musician. Is you said that you wear hearing aids?
Yes.
Yes. I was actually born deaf in my right ear. The nerve was underdeveloped, and it just doesn't work. Like I have the speaker, I have the microphone, and I have the speaker, but there's no cord attaching them. And they didn't find that until I was about 3 or 4. They started, and they're like, he's deaf in that ear. And and I'm not saying, hey, look what I did.
Just a side note.
Yeah.
I never saw my dad so happy as when he went deaf in his right ear.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because when we went on road trips, he couldn't hear my mom say anything. Sorry, carry on.
No, yeah, that's fair. I have that problem too with people when I'm driving. Like, what? And I have to turn my whole head, so I'm like, I'm just gonna talk really loud when I'm doing that. Now, I always thought it was kind of a cruel joke that if there's a man upstairs or whatever you pray to, was like, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna make him feel really passionate about music, but I'm gonna take away one of his ears.
Yeah.
Like what a cruel thing that was. Yeah. Now my dad thinks of it another way. He goes, I think it's because that you're deaf in one ear that you work harder to hear what you hear and try and do what you can do and hear the other musicians and listen to them because you only have the one. And that's interesting. That's an interesting thought, and that could be. Yeah.
I'd like to put one more little spin on that for you.
Sure.
Just because. Now, your outer ear hears what it hears. Your inner ear hears what it hears. So there's no correlation between the two. So if you can hear your voice clearly, you'd be amazed how it projects. But if you screw that up by being able to hear, and my bass player summed it up pretty well. We were dicking around at band practice not that long ago, and he said to my guitar player who was over at the board, he said, don't turn his monitor up too much, because if he hears himself, he overthinks it, and then it doesn't sound good.
Fair enough.
So if you rely a little harder on that inner ear, you'll actually project a way better performance, but it's always going to be on eggshells because you don't know, because you can't hear what everybody else is hearing.
Yeah.
And you know that, and that's the problem.
That's true.
Once you get past that, though.
Yeah, then you're okay. That's true. I never thought of it that way. I still get yelled at by my wife a lot because she's like, "You're yelling right now. You don't need to be yelling." It's like, I'm not even, like, I don't think I am. I'm just excited telling her a story about whatever with a goofy smile on my face. But is this, that? But I just get, and she's like, "You're being really, really loud."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh." So, and
As soon as I take my headphones off, my wife will say, "Why are you yelling?" Sure.
Yeah.
It is what it is. We all have fun with it because that's the key. But I don't necessarily see. Keep in mind, my band, I'm the youngest member. I wear hearing aids. They are deafer than I am, and they do not. Spectacular musicians. They do a great job. But Jack, the lead guitar player, lead vocalist, and main songwriter, I don't know how he does the mixes that he does and the engineer work that he does without being able to bloody hear it.
Yeah.
Music's a lot about feel, and I get that. But we're working in a digital age. If it was all done on tape on an analog board, okay, I can see more by feel.
Right.
But in a digital age, on a laptop, how do you do? And he does some incredible mixes. I don't know how he does it.
Yeah, like I never went down the mixing road myself and learned a lot of like I know the odd, but I just know that having, I guess you could say, a disability. I don't think of it like that, but that's just something that I wouldn't be able to do. Like, even when I listen to songs, at my work or learning them, it'll just be like, oh, the vocals, I can't even hear them because they're bounced to the right ear, and it's like, well, that's no good for me.
Yeah.
So that's the only time that it really hinders me. I personally like it. Now, on a big rock star note, Paul Stanley was actually born like that as well. Now he has since got the surgery and he's got an implant now, so he can hear.
Cochlear implant.
Yeah, exactly. He can hear out of both ears. I don't have Kiss money, and
you don't.
I don't. I know looks can be deceiving with this flashy toque and sweater I'm wearing. But,
I just absolutely assumed. That's on me.
Yeah, that's on you. You should have. No, I guess I just dress flashy, but I don't have that.
I was sure I saw a Bentley in the driveway, but whatever.
That was the banks. They're coming to take the house. That's what's going on there. They were stopping in and nailing a.
Thanks, Chris. I really do appreciate the conversation that we had. We had a nice drive out in the countryside. Had a couple of cold ones. It was really, really good. There's a lot of insight there, and moving forward with the podcast, I'd like to get you back in to do another episode, because I think that there's so much more that hasn't been said. So thanks so much. And from the local rock star, I'm going to wrap it up. And what we're going to do is we're going to go and crack a beer, and we're going to give this a listen and get it posted as quick as we possibly can. Thanks so much. And if you get a chance as a listener, if you can get a hold of me, I'm at the local rock star at gmail.com. You can get a hold of me there. And please drop a note. I look forward to hearing from anybody for their feedback that they've got. So thanks so much. Have yourselves a great night. Thank you.